Yes, Satish.
Okay. So we were discussing like how data is stored on Occurs class. So we are good here. So let's see few more example with respect to how to access that data with respect to subscript and index. Okay. Let's start with how to access the data with respect to subscript. Okay. We have seen this example also. So this example I want to tell you. This would be the basic, make you to how data is stored in data is populated in Docker class. This will give you better understanding. Let's run this program and try to. I will explain once we run that. Okay. So what I'm doing is I have a student data. Student data is having student name and is having two subjects for that student, and that two subjects subject name and subjects marks are the elementary groups of that student. So that is the basic structure. I'm discussing about a student name and is having two subjects. So let's say maths and social. So he's having these two subjects, and each subject is having 1 marks. Okay, that is the basic data we are storing on a file or a one record. So how data is populated into this occurs class is the basic concept. If you look at here the procedure division, I'm moving Kumar to the student name. So the as this is having no occurs multiple occurrences, I am directly moving Kumar into subject what student name. Coming to subject name, I am moving mass subject of one represent first occurrence of the student score. Here student score is having two times, right? So it is a occurrence of it is having an occurrence of two times. So the subject name and marks will be repeated two times here. So first subject name is mass and first marks name is 50. For mass he got 50 as marks. So that is the first occurrence. In second occurrence it will store English, and the marks for the English is 45. That is stored in the second occurrence. So that is the basic concept. This is how we move basically. For every occurrence which is having this occurs class, we should give a subscript basically. One into one we should give. Okay, this is how we should give. Okay, while moving data, that is how we should be, because it is having two occurrences. For each occurrence we need to move the data. So to move the data, how we need to the syntax should be subject name of 1, subject marks of 1, subject name of 2, marks of 2. That is how the data should be moved into the occurs class. Let's execute this and try to understand how data is stored there. So here if you see, Kumar is the student name, and he's having maths as one subject, and his data marks is 50, and his second subject is English, and his marks is 45. That is how the data is stored. That is how the movement happens into the data. Any questions here, guys? Basically this represent a subscript or index. We generally call this of 1 or of 2. We call that as subscript or index. Guys, any question, any confusions?
No, Satish.
Okay. Raghu has came and left. I am not sure what's problem with him. Okay. Let's because this will be the basic scenario. But one drawback of this code is we are repeating this move statement multiple times. Do you able to understand? If let's say if it is having six times, for every time we need to repeat that code, right? This movement should happen 6 times. Basically this marks and subject should happen 6 times to cover all 6 subjects. So we are repeating same code, only the literal is changing. The literal is changing, the variable name it is same, but the index will change. So the code will look like a clumsy code, because always for if it is 100, if it is 6, like very less occurrence, that would be fine. Let's say if it is 100, unnecessary we are having 100 into 2, 200 move statements here. That would be the basic wrong thing, clumsy code, which will be a wrong approach when a programmer is coding a program. So that should not be the basic scenario. So how this should be handled is, we should have a perform statement, so that the perform statement will move perform the statements under that perform class multiple times. that is a looping class. Basically, the perform is a looping class which will perform the statements under it multiple times until and unless condition will be given. With respect to that until and unless condition, that statements will get repeated, executed multiple times. That is how the code will work. So let's look at that perform statement and one example with respect to that. Okay, any questions there? So I have taken one example with respect to perform. So how we should code that perform and what we should do. Okay. I'll be explaining the multiple ways of running a perform statement, all those things when we encounter a perform. But to understand basic concept of this occurs class, I've used this perform statement here. Don't worry much about this perform. What is this perform? How that works? I'll be explaining down the line. But to make you to better understand of occurs class, I'm taking one example with respect to perform. Okay. So here I have taken a student record. Student record is consists of student name, which is of 6 characters, and student score is consist of subject name and marks. So it is of 9 of 2 and x of 9. So that is the basic. So to refer these variables, to access the data on this occurs class, I'm using a subscript. This is called subscript. So basically 9 of 1 have given. So this is basic declaration. When we are accessing a subscript, we should declare that subscript here, and we should use this subscript to move data into this occurs class, or to populate to access this data from the occurs class. Even to access or to move data into this occurs class, we will be using this subscript. Okay, how we are moving, what we are moving, I'm doing here. Here uh, student name is not having any occurs class, so I'm moving directly. But coming to this student subject name and marks, it is having two occurrences. So I'm looping a perform statement. So perform what, how we are doing is perform varying ws sub. Ws sub is having no value, right? It is not, we have not given any value. But here from 1 I have given from 1. So the ws sub value is 1. From 1 it will start. Increment it by 1. This syntax is from 1 by 1. What does it do is, it will give a start this as starting value, and it will increment by 1 means it will increment by 1. If we give by 2, it will increment by 2. If we give by 3, it will increment by 3. If we give here 5, it will, the sub will start from 5. So that is the basic concept of this perform. I'm performing these statements, these inside statements inside the perform and end perform. What are the statements are there? I'm repeating that. How many times? ws sub greater than 2 means until and unless ws sub is greater than 2, repeat these statements, execute this statement multiple times. That is the basic concept I'm trying to do here. So basic perform statement works is whatever the statements under perform and end perform, that will get repeated. So how many times it will get repeated means, this until condition will tell us how many times it is getting repeated. Until this condition is satisfied, until then you repeat this perform. If the condition, when condition gets satisfied, you come out of that loop. That is the basic concept. So from where that ws sub is starting, from 1 it is starting, and and it is being incremented by 1. So that is how the code works here. Any questions here with respect to this, Madhavi, Sunil, or confusion? If you are having confusion, I will explain one more time. Sunil, Madhavi, please answer.
No, sir.
Pardon? You are good or
It's clear.
clear? What about you, Sunil?
Clear, Satish.
You are clear, right? The perform will do what? The statements under perform and end perform will get repeated multiple times. How many times it will get? On what condition it will get repeated is, until condition will get, it will repeat until until condition is satisfied. So when until condition ws sub value is greater than 2, then the control will come out of this perform. Until then, all these statement will get executed multiple times. So how this sub value is being incremented? This is being incremented from 1. 1 is the starting point of that WS sub. It is incremented by 1. So that is the basic concept of this. So let's run this and try to understand what's happening there. So if you look at here, first time it will come when first it will move data into student name. Later on, whenever it encountered perform statement, what does the control do is it will assign the value to WS sub. What value it will assign? Whatever the value is present after from value, that would be assigned. Here one is present. So here WS sub value is 1. At the starting it is 1 value. So after the a value is being assigned, it will go into this perform end perform and perform statements in the statements inside that, and it will try to execute that. So here move AAA to WS subject. WS sub we have given. What is sub value here? It is 1. Okay. So one time for first occurrence A will be moved. Next the second statement will execute. Here also this is value is 1. So 10 will be moved into first occurrence. Okay, are we good here? Once this is done, it will display that WS sub value. What is the value of the WS sub? I mean, what iteration we is having? Iteration is loop. Which loop we are in? Okay, so it will display 1 because we are only executing this code first time. So the 1 will be displayed. Later on, it will go again top. The control will come to this perform statement. It will check until condition. Until 1 is greater than 2, it is false. So what does it do? If it is false, it will execute the statements. Now it will come here. So what it is not, 1 is not greater than 2, right? It will now it will increment 1 by 2. 2 will get incremented. So here 1 will become 2 and these statements will get executed. So here WS sub value is now incremented, right? The condition is not satisfied. So once condition is not satisfied, WS sub value will get incremented. Sub value is changed to 2 now because 1 plus 1 we are doing that. Incrementing by 1, right? By 1 if you given, it will do 1 plus 1. If it is give 2, then the previous value plus 2 it will do. Okay, as we are giving 1, it is being incremented by 1. Now the value is WS value sub value is 2. So here it will come here and move AA to WS2. So subject to 2 will be moved and 10 will be moved to occurrence 2. That is what happens here. In second flow, second iteration, it will be having as 2 and the data, second occurrence data will be moved. For second occurrence, the data will be moved and we are like displaying the second occurrence iteration. What is the iteration we are doing? So that is completed. Now it will go and check the until condition. 2 is greater than 2 or not. No, it is not true, right? So 2 is not, so the condition will get false and the control will get out of the loop. That is what basically happens here. So after 2, let's say 2 is completed. Now it will come here. Before coming only the increment statement will, the value will get incremented. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 is greater than 2. 3 is greater than 2. The condition got satisfied and the control will come out of this perform and end perform, and later on this will be get displayed. Okay. Any questions here? Confusion, questions? How the perform statement is executed? So if you look at here, the output is first iteration. When first iteration comes, it will move AA to first iteration and display perform loop iteration is 1. So that is why 1 is being displayed here. Second time when control comes, because why I have given this display is to make you understand how many times this code is being executed. So if you see here, the code is being executed 2 times because first time it will populate the value A into first occurrence. Coming to second time, it will also populate the value into that occurrence. And when third time loop is happening, the condition gets satisfied and the control will come out of this end perform. And after end perform, what is we are having? We are displaying the student record. So Kumar, AAA 10. After that, again AAA 10. That is how the data is stored and how the data is populated into occurs class. Guys, are we good here? Because this concept I will be using in perform and search while I am explaining these two concepts. Because if you are not able to understand this concept, you will not able to understand the search thing. So be clear on this, how the data is being moved into this occurs class. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions. So what I am doing is to make you understand how data for each record the student data should change, right? Let's okay, let's do that. How data is being changed, let's do that. Okay, what I'm changing is I'm looking at a condition. I'm keeping a condition here. If ws sub equal to 1, I'm moving a into that. Okay, so guys, can you tell me what would be the output here? What happens? What would be the output? Madhavi, Sunil, let me execute the code, you will understand. So what's happening here is, so performs first the Kumar will be moved into the variable, I mean student name. Second, that whenever the perform statement encountered, ws sub value will be 1. Okay, ws sub value is 1 now. Okay, now it will go and execute these statements basically. So here it will check if ws sub is 1, then this statement will be executed. Okay, here for first occurrence, because here also we given ws sub, here also we are given ws sub. So for first occurrence, a and 10 is moving to subject name and marks. So this is done. So he again it will come, the control will come here and will check if ws sub is 1 2, but ws sub value is 1, right? So if this condition will not if condition is not true, so these statements will not get executed. Here this if condition is true, so this condition these statements are being executed and the movement will happen. Coming to here, the statements are not true, so this move, these statements will not get executed. The inside statements within the in statement will not be executed. So it will come out. Again, it will go top. Now the WS sub value will be incremented by 1. Now after incrementing, it will come here and check WS sub is greater than 2 or not. It is not true. So again it will come inside the perform statements. Here it will check WS sub value is 1. No, it is not equal to 1 here because the value has been changed to 2 here. So it will check 2. So now these statements will not get executed. So coming to here, it will check now 2 is equal to 2, so this condition is true. Now these statements will get executed because condition is true. This statement will get executed. BBB will move to second occurrence and 20 is moved to second occurrence of marks. Now the display statement of second, this should be second occurrence, not first occurrence. Second occurrence movement happened here, that would be done here. After that, now it will go top and increment the WS sub value from 2 to +1, it will increase, so it will change to 3. So it will check here, after changing the value, it will check here whether 3 is greater than 2 or not. It is true, so condition is satisfied. It will come out of end perform. It will, the control will come to end perform. After end perform, what are we having? Display student record and student record, whatever the data is present, student data, we are displaying that. Let's run and execute this code. So first, for first occurrence, this is displayed because for first occurrence, when WS sub is value is 1, this is displayed. When WS sub value is 2, this is displayed. Okay, so that is what happened, and the data is populated. Kumar AAA 10 is being populated into marks, and then student like BBB started and his marks is 20. So that is how we will populate data into occurs class with respect to a perform class. Any questions here? Are we good here? So basically we use it as subscript. Subscript declaration will happen in working storage variable, and we use that subscript to increment this and populate data into student class. That is what happened here. Okay, any questions here? Sunil, Madhavi,
No, Satish.
you are good, right? That's good. Okay, so let's go run the same code with respect to index. Okay, how index will be performed, what is that is, I will explain here. So I have taken same example, but the thing is that if you look at the above code, the previous code, if you look at here, we have given a subscript here. We are given a new variable to do movement to the perform statement. But coming to index, during the occurs class only, we will have one index here, like occurs 2 times indexed by WS index. Okay, we are not declaring anything with respect to index. Here, if you see, what is the difference here? This is the difference here. Till previous statement, previous example, till 2 times only we have given. This statement is not present. Whatever I am highlighting, this is not present in the previous example. If you look at previous example, 2 times, this is ended here. Occurs class is ended here. But coming to this example, we are giving an index statement here. We are telling system that we are having an index and the index value is WS index. Okay, and we are not declaring any subscript here. Previous example, we declared a subscript. So here this data will be stored in memory, but coming to here, we are not declaring any subscript here. So no data wastage will happen here because subscript is already present with respect to index. We are using an index here to populate data into occurs class. Okay, so this is what the extra is. Let's keep this code, instead of copying this, let's copy this and paste the paste index in the declaration and remove that subscript and run the same code. Okay, I am removing the subscript. Okay, so when I remove this subscript, what should be the change? This should not be index. This should WS sub should change it to index. Okay, we can give here also sub. That is not a problem. Let's give that. Instead of that, let's change this to index as WS sub. WS sub is index, not a subscript. Okay, let's run this code. Same code. So the same thing happened. Only thing is that subscript we are declaring in working storage, but in a subscript we are declaring working storage, but index we are not declaring. That is the basic difference. Are you good, guys? Any questions here? Only difference when we use index is we will not be declaring it. We will be using that index indexed by class, and that index when populating or accessing the data. That is the basic difference between index and subscript. Let me throw you what is subscript. And if you look at this, one basic difference you will observe is previously okay, I have not displayed here subscriptor. Okay, let's look at this example. Here the data is stored in this manner. Okay, 0001. The basic declaration of subscript, how the subscript internally stored in Cobol is a declaration of sorry, index in Cobol is WS. Let me show one example. WS index pick S 9 of 1 comp 9 of 4 comp. So this is how the data is stored in internally. Basically, how index value stored in Cobol is, this is how the data is. 9 of 4 comp it will take. But coming to subscript, how we are declaring the subscript? 01 WS sub pick S not S 9 of 4 we will declare. This is how the subscript is declared basically. In Cobol programs, this is how the subscript we will declare. But internally, Cobol will store index in S9 of 4 comp. So here the storage is less when compared to subscript. The storage will be less and the performance will be also more, because if you look at here, the subscriptive value is 0001 plus 001, because here we have given the internal representation of subscript is S9 of 4 comp. So S is present, so plus sign is given. S9 of 4 comp is this, like this many digits it will take, and it will store that, because binaries it will store, right? Due to that it is stored in that manner. But when compared to subscript, I have not given any output here. Okay. Let's run this and find out how subscript is stored basically in Cobol. Okay. Let's run this because I have given subscript here, right? So if you look at here, simply it is storing 1 and 2. Nothing else it is storing. So that is how the declaration happens, because here we are given 9 of 1, 9 of 1. If we give 9 of 4, the basic declaration will happen similar lines. 0001. So that is how basic. Here 4 bytes will be taken, but here same data, same subscript, we can store maximum values here, right? The maximum values will change here. Data storage will take less space when compared to comp. It will take less space, and subscript will take more space. That is one advantage of subscript and index. And one more advantage is index is more faster when compared to subscript. So let's see what is subscript and what is index. This would be one good question people will ask in interviews every time. Wherever which company you will go, this one question will always come into the interview. What is the subscript? What is an index? So subscript is basically it indicates the number of occurrence of a table, and it is a normal Cobol variable. So what does it do? Let's say if an occurs class is present, WS student name occurs 2 times. Okay, what should be the basic? Pick x of 5 we give. This occurs 2 times. So how data is stored is, can I insert a image table? So let's take not 5. Bye. So basically this is 3. So how data is stored is 1, not 1, 3, 3, right? 6 it should take. Okay. So here the data student name is A. Sorry. This is A. Coming to second student, it is B. So this is how data is stored. So subscript, what does it do is it will remember this as 1 and student record as 2. This has 2. So what does that do is when 1 given, it will display all these statement, all these values. So when 2 is given, it will go for second occurrence, and that occurrence data is displayed with respect to subscript. But coming to index, what does that do is index will store this address basically. Let's say if it is having at the rate 1234 as address of this memory 1234. Okay, coming to here, the memory address of this is 12456 something. It is let's say how memory address representation we are not bothered, but basically the address index is something, it will store the addresses of this memory basically. So when you look at this index, what does the index do is basically it will go and fetch this index value. First index is this and second index is this. But in like in books, if you look at the first page, we'll have like what is the topic and the page number, right? If you want to go for that specific topic, we will directly go for that specific page number with respect to that index page. That is what happens basically. The address is stored. When you want to go that second occurrence, it will take that second occurrence address data, and it will populate that with respect to that data. It will pull the memory of data from the memory, and it will display. But coming to occurrence, what does it do is if you give second, it will do increments one by one. It will do increment until that second occurrence increment happened. Then one second increment completed and plus is added, increment is done, then the data second occurrence data is come, then it will pull. So it will do that increments logic in internally. But coming to index, it will not do. It will directly go for address and fetch the data from that address. That is what internally happens. Any questions here, guys? Subscript and index. Subscript indicates the number of occurrences. If it is having 2 occurrence, it will remember 2, it is having 2 occurrence, and it will increment. Basically, if you are referring to second occurrence, from first occurrence onwards, it will increment one by one and increment until and unless second occurrence encountered, then that data will be fetched. But coming to index, it will directly store the address. With respect to address, you will go directly there and it will fetch that data. But index subscript will not happen in that manner. It will do increment till here, till a, the data is only first occurrence, so it will not take this. When second occurrence data is encountered, then only it will do. If it is in between, if we are having the third occurrence, fourth occurrence, till it will compare the data for first occurrence, second occurrence data is compared, third occurrence data is pulled, later on fourth occurrence data is pulled. So for every time it will pull data for each occurrence until and unless that what occurrence it is required, it will pull that data. So every time the occurrence data will be pulled. But coming to index, it will not happen that time. It will directly go to that address and fetch that data and give that output. So due to that, index is gives more performance when compared to subscript. So basic question will be what is subscript and what is index, which gives more performance, will be the basic question they will ask. So you need to answer that. Index represent the occurrence of the table, but coming to sorry, subscript represent the occurrence of a table, but coming to index, it is offset address from the beginning of a table. Index stores address, but subscript stores occurrence. That is the basic difference. So index will how index will be set in Cobol program is we use 3 statements basically. Set, search, and perform are the 3 Cobol clauses which we use to set an index, to increment an index, or to set an index. That is what we use. But coming to subscript, we will generally add +1 to add +1 to ws sub. That is how we give in Cobol. This is the basic representation here. But coming to index, we cannot do that. We generally will give either set, search, or perform. These are the 3 variables which we use. Currently we use perform to set that value and incremented that value. Similarly, we can use search and also set. These are the 3 variables which Cobol variables, verbs or Cobol verbs we use to set an index in the Cobol. So that is the basic difference. Are we good here, guys? Madhavi and Sunil.
Yes, Satish.
Okay, we'll discuss this tomorrow also. The question, these interview questions we will discuss. I'm done for the session today. Any questions? Madhavi, Sunil.
No.
No,
Okay.
Satish.
Okay, guys, I'm done with the session. We'll discuss these interview questions tomorrow. Also, I will discuss this subscript and index once again. Okay, because there are other questions also I want to discuss, and later on I will move to other topics. Okay, I'm done for the session, guys. Then bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Satish.